Acha ji. Student, this chapter is very important. Why? Because our first objective is understanding the role of network design in a supply chain. So first of our objective is understanding the role of network design in a supply chain. Second is identify factors influencing supply chain network design decisions. Identify factors influencing supply chain network design decisions. So we will be identifying the factors, particular factors, which are influencing the network design decisions. Third is discuss a framework for making network design decisions. These are the three objectives we have. So we will be completing this chapter up till 5.3. So up till 5.3 we will be completing this chapter. We won't be doing 5.4, 5 and 6. 5.4, 5 and 6 are not part of our discussion. Okay, this is an important point to note. Acha, I believe you all have the notepad and the pen with you. And I also want you guys to inquire your friends who are not in the class right now, because I don't see a good attendance today. I don't see good attendance today. So I will be taking your attendance since I am getting the names of everybody. So I will have to take the attendance. So let the others know that is attendance is being taken every single day, and if you don't show up, then you will be short of attendance. So we have more than 50 students, but right now I see only 35 students, and the class timings are not too early. It's 12:30 uh, afternoon. So the class should be above 50 students at least. Okay. I hope that you communicate with your class fellows, with the fellows which who are not here right now. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. These are the learning objectives we have already discussed uh, about the role of network design, factors influencing the supply chain network design, discuss a framework for making network design decisions. Uh, I would like to request you guys that please do not ask questions during the lecture, since it is almost impossible to answer you. After a while, when I will be done, uh, before time, inshallah, I will be asking you guys about the questions you have. So I will be giving you time for asking questions. So don't you worry. But during the lecture, it is not possible. Okay. So I believe you understand this point, and please cooperate for that reason. So let's start the next topic. Acha ji, this is the very important slide. You see you need to understand first the role of network design in the supply chain. So supply chain network design decisions include how many manufacturing plants, production lines, distribution centers, and cross-docking facilities a firm should have. You need to remember how many manufacturing plants, production lines, distribution centers, and cross-docking facilities a firm should have. Okay. So first you need to know what is production line. I hope that you know, but still for your recollection of thoughts, I would like to share with you the production line is the is the way is the procedures required to complete the product. So through production lines, we complete the procedures of a product to be finished. For example, we have a production line. In the production line, we have the 100 cartons available after every four hours. So this is called the production lines. So one factory can have more than one production line. Okay, so there can be, the product can be made in different batches. So batches, through batches you get to know that how many batches the one production line has produced. Okay, so production line are basically is the procedures one product require to be finished. So remember that. Second is distribution center. As you already know, it is the point where the product reaches, finished product reaches, and from there the product move on. From there the product move on to the customers or consumers, to the customers and consumers. So you see, the customers will be getting the product from the distribution center. And what is the cross docking facility? It is the facility where the manufacturer or the um, um, retailer don't keep the product for long. They move the product in a, after just sorting it out. So usually the cross docking facility is used for moving the product in a high speed, where we have a huge amount of orders of a single product. ठीक है? For example, we have 800 cartons order. In the 1000 carton we are about to offload. So 1000 cartons we are about to offload. Out of 1000 cartons, 800 cartons have to be sent to a single customer. So what we do, we don't keep the stock in our warehouse. We just move it around to the and up and the uh, load the 800 cartons in another vehicle, that can be Mazda or other vehicle, to make the product available for our customers. So we don't have to keep the all the 1000 cartons. We just have to keep the 200 cartons which are not part of the order. So basically the cross docking facility is meaning the uh, docking means the parking of the cars or the shipping vehicle. So cross docking means one vehicle is parked and another is also parked. One has to offload, the other has to be loaded. One has to be offloaded and one has to be loaded. So this is called the cross loading facility. Let's move on where they should be located. How much capacity should be located to each facility? So where, this is the important point. The location of the facility. Second, the capacity allocated to each facility. You might have noticed the capacity allocation. The capacity allocation is very important because as much capacity you allocate, you can accumulate with that. For example, you have a warehouse, of 1000 cartons. Okay, so 1000 cartons is the capacity of the warehouse. Okay, 1000 cartons is the capacity of the warehouse, and you cannot allocate any more to that particular facility until you improve the capacity of that facility. ठीक है? Allocation means you plan out the capacity accordingly. Which product should each facility produce or handle? Which product should each facility produce or handle? This is the important point, because if you don't decide about it, you won't be able to efficiently use your resources, because the resources which we are talking about, these are the assets of any company. Manufacturing plants, production lines, distribution centers, and cross docking, these are the assets of a company, and these are the fixed assets basically. So these assets can be efficiently utilized if we plan it out, the the products which we produce and the products which we handle in our warehouses and distribution centers. and a cross-docking facility. This is we need to decide first. As per the location of the capacity, as per the capacity of the facility, as per the demand of the customers, as per the labor we have to allocate the products each facility has to produce or handle. Last is, and which markets should each facility serve? This is very important because you cannot serve every market from single facility. You need to see that which market can be facilitated from which facility. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, so allocation of all these things like the handling and producing and market to be served, um, and the capacity to be allocated and the location of a facility. So these are the very important points. Uh, uh, I will try to make you understand the importance of these points one by one. So starting from the first point, that is uh, the how many manufacturing plants and production lines and distribution center cross docking facility firm should have. As we have already discussed in the Amazon part about it, but here I would like to discuss in detail. So basically, we design our network on the basis of our supply chain strategy, and the supply chain strategy is developed on the basis of the competitive strategy, which we have already discussed in chapter number 2. Okay, so these all are integrated. So the all the constraints are set, configuration is set, within which the supply chain drivers can be used either to decrease supply chain cost or to increase responsiveness. This is very, very important. Okay, what is your strategy? Do you want to decrease the cost or improve the responsiveness? Okay, so you have the choice. Either you could go for the cost effectiveness or you could improve the responsiveness as well, and you can also go together, but you need to see that how much cost you can bear for improving the responsiveness and how much efficiency, the cost effectiveness, you could compromise to improve the responsiveness. So you need to juggle from both of them. You cannot increase the responsiveness independently. The cost will be higher as much responsiveness you increase. So you need to keep in your mind. It is important to make network design decisions in the context. This is very important. Write it down, in the context of supply chain strategy, because they determine the supply chain configuration and set constraints within which the other supply chain drivers can be used, which we have just discussed. For example, increasing the number of facilities, जो हमने we just discussed in the last discussion question of chapter number 4. Increasing the number of facilities has allowed Amazon to become even more responsive to its customer. I already told you that if Amazon want to increase its responsiveness, then the Amazon needs to increase the number of facilities. Customers in many urban areas can now get the same day delivery. When the Amazon will increase the facility number of facility, the responsiveness will be improved. The customers will be getting the same day delivery, same day order delivery, and in even some instances, after charging the premium, the extra price, you will be delivering in 1 hour. So could you imagine 1 hour delivery through the website? So this is happening when you open your more facilities. The larger number of facilities, however, has required a high level of investment and increase Amazon cost. See, when you are improving the responsiveness, your cost is keep increasing. Okay, so we have understood the basic role of the network design in the supply chain. See, facility location decision. Now we are talking about the facility location decision. Okay, facility location decision. Actually, facility location decision has a long term and short term, has a long term impact. Okay, so when we talk about the manufacturing facility, so it is expensive to shut down a facility or to move it to a different location. So usually what company does, company get the warehouses and the cross docking facility, okay, on rent. They don't purchase it. So company purchases usually not always the manufacturing facility where they need to be at least for a decade, because it is the long term investment and it has the long term impact, and the company basically think over long time for making this decision. Supply chain network designers must consider that any factories will stay well located for an extended period of a decade. तो warehouses का हमने discuss किया है. So you see, a good location decision can help a supply chain be responsive while keeping its cost low. So every supply chain manager wants to have the cost low and have the better response. So how can it be done? It can be done when you take the decision strategically and you consider the performance of your competitors and the big giants in the same industry. You see, if we take the example of Toyota, for example, built its first US assembly plant in Kentucky in 1988 and has continued to build new plants in the US since then. Because of the right decisions, they started doing that in different cities. The US plants provide profitable for Toyota when the yen strengthened and the cars produced in Japan were too expensive to be cost competitive. So you see, the multinational company which has the businesses in different countries, so they need to have their local manufacturing facility. So this point is very important, since most of the companies, big companies, local companies, they are extending their businesses in abroad. So they are interested in earning in dollars, and they are they are interested in investing in other than their own country. So you see, uh, in your book, the example of Toyota is given because of having the local manufacturing facilities. Uh, they were able to manage the expensive product uh, without importing from Japan. For example, if you want to have the Japanese car right now in Pakistan, so it will cost you more, since the your currency is keep devaluing. So when your currency is keep devaluing and the product is coming from abroad, so you have to bear the cost. So the local people, for the local people, it is very difficult to bear the cost. So what happens? The companies keep their plants locally. So you see, the facility location decisions has a long term impact. Let's move on to the allocation of capacity. Allocation of capacity to facilities can be altered more easily than location. So you see, the location is not easy, location decision is not easy to alter, but the capacity decisions can be altered. Capacity decisions do tend to stay in place for several years. It is for several years, not for months. Keep in your mind, locating too much capacity to a location results in poor utilizations and as a result higher cost. So you need to see at how much capacity you allocate. It is very good to hear that you have the unlimited capacity to store the products. But when you have the unlimited capacity or the high limit capacity for a facility, you will have to bear the cost for its maintenance and for its looking after and for the specialized people to handle the product. So you see, the obsolescence cost is also there. So you see, you need to see this decision very carefully. You have to take this decision very carefully. Allocating too little capacity results in poor responsiveness if demand is not satisfied, or high cost if demand is filled from a distant facility. So you need to see that if you have too little capacity, so your response will be poor, and you will have to use the distant facility because you have the too little capacity, so you have to move around to satisfy the customer demand. The allocation of supply sources and markets to facilitates The allocation of supply sources and markets to facilities has a significant impact on performance. So the allocation for the supplies and for the markets, both we are talking about. The allocation of supply sources and markets to facilities has a significant impact on performance because it affects the total production, inventory and transportation cost. What it affects? It affects the total production, inventory and transportation cost. When we talk about the production facility, obviously, uh, it affects the total production, inventory and transportation costs incurred by the supply chain to satisfy customer demand. When we talk about the supply sources, we are talking about the production facility. Okay, when we talk about the market, we talk about the inventory. Okay, so you see, the it has the greater significant impact on performance of your logistics. I may say logistics plus the production facility. Your decision should be reconsidered on the regular basis so the allocation can be changed as production and transportation costs, market conditions are changes. Since you see the inventory is in between, and the supplies you see, and the transportation. So the transportation cost varies time to time. You see the petroleum cost or the fuel cost has decreased tremendously in the current days. The fuel cost has become very low, and oil has become at its lowest cost. So see, the cost of transportation has lowered now, so you can afford to have the less number of facilities. When you have less number of facilities, you have to afford the transportation cost more. So this is also the part of your consideration. Okay, let's stop ourselves over here because time is almost over. I guess you have few questions, so let's take a few questions so that we shall uh, move ahead from there. Thank you.